Welcome everyone to episode 20 of the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. My guest tonight is a guy who I've been a fan of for many, many years, and I actually got the chance to meet in person back in 2011. And I've been keeping track of this guy's career for a long time, and it's really interesting just to see all the different turns this guy has made in his career. It's we're talking about a guy who has literally grown up in the music business. I think he started off in his first major band probably when he was in his mid-teens, and that band, of course, was one of my favorite rock bands of the last 10 years, Black Tide. He was the drummer for that band from 2006 through 2012. That band also consisted of lead singer and guitarist Gabriel Garcia, bassist Zach Sandler, and guitarist Alex Nunez, who was later replaced by Austin Diaz. Those guys have literally traveled and played all over the world, released two major albums, Light from Above in 2008 and Postmortem in 2011. And I got the chance to see those guys live several times, and there's not really much I could say that many of you don't know already. But for those of you who don't know, those guys, they had quite a few hits, and like I said, they were all in their mid-teens when they started, which is pretty remarkable, especially in the hard rock / heavy metal genre. And they had appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and a lot of different things, Ozfest, you name it. He was with that band until 2012. And now he has currently decided to go out on his own. He is not only a great drummer, but he's a singer, guitarist, keyboardist, producer, DJ. He's a very talented guy, and like I said, I'm definitely glad that he took the time out to be on the show tonight. So I'm just going to introduce all the way from Los Angeles, Mr. Steven Spence. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just thank you for that. I am over here. I'm smiling and I'm feeling good. It's crazy. You're like bringing me back to my early days, and it feels good. It's just reminiscing on the times. It's almost insane that all that actually happened. But here I am. It's me.
It really is, and I'm sure you hear this a lot. But I mean, again, the fact that you guys were as young as you were when you broke, I mean, it's almost unheard of. You don't really hear that often. I mean, you'll see stuff on like YouTube of like even like little kids who are like playing drums or guitar and stuff like that. And I think there was a younger band called Unlocking the Truth a few years ago that sort of made some headlines. But you guys really went and did it back in the mid 2000s. And like I said, I was a fan from the first record. And I don't know if you remember when you and I met in 2011. It was a while ago, and I'm sure you guys met a ton of people on the road.
Right.
I don't know if that rings a bell, but I definitely want to recap that story for everyone listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Back in 2011, I was working. I was like I said, I was just getting out of school. I had sort of a part-time job. I was working at the St. Pete Times Forum, which is now the Amalie Arena. I guess I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's the major arena in Tampa, Florida, where the Tampa Bay Lightning
the Tampa Bay Lightning play. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was working there at the time as a conversion tech, just sort of like part-time job, trying to make some money. Mm-hmm. I happened to be working on the day that Iron Maiden was playing there.
Right.
And I forget, was that in October or November?
I thought it was in April, but I could be way off.
I mean, it was some point in 2011. I think it might have been April. You're probably right. But but anyways, I was working there. I was planning on going to the show anyway. I knew some of the guys there, managed to score some tickets. So I was working there during the day, and they were setting up. And of course, obviously, being the tech guys, we're not necessarily allowed to talk to the talent or whatever who come through. But I saw a few young guys backstage, and I'm like, those guys look familiar, and I guess I was asking around. I'm like, hey, who's the opening act for Maiden tonight? Oh, it's this band called Black Tide. They're from Miami. And I'm like, I know those guys. Yeah, and I for some reason I didn't know that you guys were the opener. I mean, because I'd been familiar with your record. I'd seen like you guys do Jimmy Kimmel on like YouTube or something. I mean, you were a little bit younger at the time, but still, it was like I thought I kind of recognized you and Austin, and so I mean, you and I got to talking. I kind of explained, it was like, hey man, I'm working here. I just want to let you know I'm a big fan.
Right.
And so we got to talking for a little bit. Well, anyways, I went and saw the show, and after the show, I went backstage because I saw it. Yeah,
it's leading where I think it is. I know this night pretty well.
Yeah. You probably remember what it is. But after the show, I had some of my stuff in like the locker, like my work uniform and stuff. So I managed to get backstage and everything, and I bumped into you again and Gabe and the rest of the guys, and we just got to talking for a little bit. And I noticed there was sort of a commotion, in the crowd. We got to talking about a few other things. We look over there, and I see this this whole entourage come in. It's like, sort of like, and these guys looked like sort of a cartoon version of what I would expect an Iron Maiden fan to look like.
Right.
Like they had like the full like hairband get up and everything, just, all stilettos and stuff like that. And in the middle was this short blonde girl with with like an Iron Maiden jacket and like a Peace of Mind, t-shirt on.
I remember this very vividly. I know exactly who it was.
Yeah, it was Lady Gaga.
Yeah, Gaga stopped by to check out the set.
Yeah, and I was like, it was just one of those things. Like I wasn't freaking out, but I was just like, huh. Is that Lady Gaga? Like, what's she doing here?
Hilarious.
It was just a bizarre thing of events because she was walking in there. She had like stiletto heels, fishnets, a thong, and like that was it.
I remember she was just wearing a thong, no pants.
Yeah, just ass hanging out.
Yeah.
What I mean, like she looked good. Not for nothing, but it was just like, yeah, she was just walking like, no problem. Just back there. I guess she was just going to hang out with the band because.
I specifically remember she looked like she's been like stepping up the squats, like she was killing the squat game.
Oh yeah, no, it was on point for sure. But but she was back there. I guess she was going out to hang with the band because she saw the show, and I was just like, because she had played the same arena the night before, so it made sense. I guess she was in town to see the show, but it was just like. That whole thing, it's like here I was. I mean, I was still excited to meet you guys, obviously, because I was a big fan. But it was just like the whole thing was surreal. I'm like, wow,
right.
this is like probably the closest I'll ever get to like rubbing elbows with the stars and stuff like that. So
hilarious.
It was pretty funny. So I didn't know if you remembered that at all or not.
No, I definitely remember that night very vividly. It turned into some more fun events, but we won't get into everything.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure, because I mean.
Right.
I mean, that whole thing just fascinates me, for one thing. Just you guys, sort of growing up in the business as young as you were. I mean, I remember, like, when I was in my mid-teens, my biggest concern was, A, trying to get in a band, any band, and B, like, maybe hoping that, like, the girl in my social studies class maybe liked me or something like that. That was, like, my main things. You guys were touring the world, making records, and making the kind of music that I loved listening to, and being much younger than me, so obviously I was a little bit envious, but like I said, I was a huge fan of you guys.
Thank you.
I can't imagine what that must have been like to grow up in that environment.
You know what? I didn't even really look at it like that. I just looked at it like it's just what I was supposed to be doing. I've always been a big believer since even before high school, that whatever you want, you can do it. You just have to go after it and make the right decisions, the right moves in order to get there. And I specifically remember, I know you keep bringing up the age thing, but I mean, that's just because that's what I wanted to do at the time. I remember in high school, my guidance counselor, she was bringing small groups of us out of our classes into her office and trying to guide us in the right direction towards college and what we could do and how she could recommend, the right path for our future. And she would go around asking each student, what we wanted to do, what we wanted to become, career-wise, and then how she would be able to help. She would kind of guide us. And then when it got to me, I told her, she was like, all right, Mr. Spence, what would you like to do? And I told her specifically the first answer was, all right, I want to be a rock star. I want to be in a band and tour the world.
Oh yeah.
And this is before, I was in Black Tide. This is just me. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. And then she was like, okay, well, now Spence, seriously, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I'm 100% serious right now. And and so that's the kind of attitude that I had when I was younger, and it's just kind of like translated, for everything in my life. It kind of works that way. Whatever I focus on, I make a plan and I take actions in order to get myself there.
Exactly, man. And you guys really made it happen. I mean, it's just funny that you say that, because it's like, yeah, most colleges don't offer the rock star major. If there was, I would have signed up for it, but it's
right. You can't really do that.
Not so much. But you guys made it happen, and and it's really cool to hear stuff like that. How did you get involved with those guys in the first place? Were you from Miami originally?
I wasn't. It's kind of like uh, like a whole conjoined turn of connections, and we kind of all knew each other through different people, and it just turns out that the guys in the band Radio, when I joined,
Mm-hmm.
um, needed a drummer.
Right.
So they heard about me through friends because they were, friends of another band. It was just like a bunch of local bands in a scene that I wasn't even really part of because I was in a different band and I was, focusing on my high school life, but I was just the drummer that people, I guess, kind of knew about.
Yeah.
And it turned out that, we had a jam and it went really well. We kind of vibed. And then from there, we just turned into, kids making a record, and it turned out pretty fun.
Right, right.
Um,
Radio, of course, was the name of the band before you became Black Tide.
right.
But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where it always surprised me as being a guy from Florida, because I had heard that Miami wasn't necessarily a big rock town, even though the business was there necessarily. There was a lot of the music business was there in Miami, but wasn't necessarily like hard rock friendly.
Yeah, it's
But you
still
guys
not.
came out
I
of
don't
that
think.
environment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely came out of it. I mean, I feel like just music is in me, and kind of anywhere. I personally, I like all types of music. I feel like every genre has good stuff, and you've got your really terrible stuff.
Right, right.
And I can appreciate that. I mean, I still listen to some pretty heavy music, but I also love writing pop songs, and I'm never gonna limit myself as far as what I listen to, what I like to create. Um, so that's just kind of my take on it.
Absolutely. I mean, and you have really become much more versatile over the years. I mean, it obviously shows in what you're doing right now. I know.
Thank you.
I mean, I was curious. I mean, I guess music was. You mentioned music was always in your blood. I'm sure that had to do. I mean, your uncle Martin Batista was keyboardist for the Wailers many years
Mhm.
ago. I don't know if that was while Bob Marley was alive, or maybe that was post Marley. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
this is post Marley, but he's still told me stories of like them playing in front of like 100,000 people in Russia and like doing his thing. So that was inspiring to hear growing up, and it's just one of those another thing towards my mindset, helping me believe in like, okay, anything I want, I can get. I can make happen for myself. If my uncle can do something like that, then I can do it. And I feel like it just got to keep going on, keep going on. If we instill that belief in the upcoming talent in the youth, then who knows where these guys are going to take their creativity.
Right,
It's
right.
exciting.
Did your uncle give you a lot of good advice when you were younger, as far as stuff like that?
Not necessarily, not so much. I just remember the stories that he would kind of tell me and kind of inspire me, but not as far as advice goes, not necessarily. But I feel like inspiration is an incredibly important thing, and that alone is very valuable for me.
Absolutely. Who are some of your favorite drummers, by the way?
Um, Funny, I was just over at the Los Angeles the Guitar Center drum off that happened. I think it was last month, like late a couple weeks ago, and just running into a bunch of drummer friends out here. There's so many amazing drummers. I don't even consider myself like a good drummer. I just go out there and I just bang on stuff and I have fun. But there's so many good dudes. It's hard to say. But growing up, I definitely had a lot of inspiration. But now I've really focused more so on my songwriting and just getting the full thing out and not just the drums. I feel like the drum part of me is just like what they are in a song. The drums are part of the
Right.
song. They're not the whole thing. Just like me, drums are part of me, but it's not all of me. It's like, I'm all about the whole thing now, which is fun. And as a solo artist now, it's exciting because the creative process is a lot different than it used to be when I was in a band. Now it's all on me. I'm in a room and I'm like, all right, let me get this idea out of my head. And if it sucks because I suck. And if it's good because, I got lucky, or, I came up with something that it's good, but it's all on me, and something that I enjoy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and I've noticed that certainly from your YouTube channel. You'll do stuff like I saw this one video where you were playing piano and singing. I didn't realize at the time until I saw the thing, like, oh, it's an Ariana Grande song.
Oh, right. That was fun. Yeah.
I hadn't heard the original, but I had heard you sing on there. I'm like, oh, damn, this sounds really good. Very soulful, very R&B. Definitely a departure from the Black Tide era, obviously, but still, I mean,
Right.
still really good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. That's definitely a side of me that people aren't really too familiar with. the whole melodic element of things, because people almost know me as just a drummer, even though
Right.
I would write some of the guitar parts for Black Tide and like the piano stuff when we would incorporate that. But I just like to challenge myself a lot, and stepping up as a solo artist and singing on my stuff, I just knew that was something that I had to just step up and do if I really wanted to be a solo artist that could make some noise.
Was that part of the thing that factored into your decision to leave the band in 2012, or were there other circumstances, or I don't know what you want to elaborate on?
Yeah, the whole departure for Black Tide, I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Hmm.
At first, it wasn't something that it kind of came out of nowhere, but when it happened, it didn't take long for me to see the bright side of it, because, you know, being out of the band kind of opened the door for me to become the solo artist that I am still becoming today, that I've become, and that I am still becoming, that I'm working towards. Because if it wasn't for my departure from Black Tide, I wouldn't have all the time that I have now to focus on my songwriting craft and my performance craft as a solo artist. I definitely don't regret anything that I did with the band. I don't regret the years we spent on the road, and that I was as just a drummer in the people's mind, because those years made me the performer that I am today. I wouldn't be able to play the drums the way I do if it weren't for the Black Tide years.
Absolutely.
As a drummer, touring with so many other amazing drummers and amazing performers and frontmen in the rock world, I got to kind of, take from that and learn from it. And that's just invaluable. And my goal is kind of to bring that element to the dance world, into like the pop world. And I think it's fun. I think it translates really well. And I see some of these DJs out here doing their thing, and it's really terrible. They don't know how to command a crowd. They don't know really, they don't even look comfortable on stage. And
Right, right.
that's something that I think rock guys and rock frontmen really have down. They know how to tell a crowd to do something, and to bring the energy and to bring the right vibes.
Absolutely. There's
And so
there's an
just
art to it.
definitely there's an art to it. And I think the rock guys are killing it. So,
Yeah.
and that's something that I think, Skrillex, everyone knows Skrillex. I think he's
Hmm.
got down, and like that, paralleled with me, he comes from a rock background, you
Does it
know.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was the singer for a band from first to last.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I'd heard the name of that band before. I think I'd heard something that, like, I think Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit was involved with them at some point. I don't know where I remember the name from, but I mean, speaking of showmanship, I mean that doesn't surprise me, because seeing you with the band, as much as I had, you were always a very showman, type drummer. You always had that kind of presence about you. You didn't just sit back and lay back the beat. You would be flinging your arms back and forth. You got the hair whipping in the
Right.
band, the whole deal.
Right.
And it was you were really a showman, for a drummer. So that doesn't surprise me that you sort of transferred that on into your DJ performances as well.
Right, and it's fun, and that's just like another element, because I don't like to take myself too seriously. I like to have fun, and having fun on stage is just a part of that. So
Absolutely.
so anything I could do to make someone smile while I'm on stage, is something that I'm usually going to go for. So whether it's doing a backflip, or flipping my sticks, or like
Nice.
hitting something up, throwing my stick up 40 feet in the air and like catching it, and then like seeing that catch and people realizing it, it's like it's all worth it. It's worth the practice, the endless hours of practice that I used to put into to that. It does make it all worth it. So
No doubt. It's funny you mentioned frontman. Does that? I mean, because I can tell from the videos that you got a pretty good voice. Have you ever thought about, like, maybe like fronting a band one of these days, or something like that?
I've definitely got approached to do some stuff like that. And it's rough for me, because honestly, like when I tell you that I like all styles of music, it's like I'm very passionate about certain things, and rock. I'm still passionate about the whole vibe and the scene and live music and rocking
Hmm.
out and even, who knows, singing one day. But as far as where I'm at now, I think I am on the right path, as a solo artist making, dance music that kind of resonates with me right now. And I think other people as well. I've been getting really good feedback from my songs, and I am actually singing on a lot of my new tracks, which
Right.
is cool.
Right
So
on. Well, speaking of what you're doing now, let's talk about the "All of Your Love" video. That's your latest single that dropped, I think, this week, or at least as we record this. That's on YouTube right now. This week. Tell me
mhm.
a little bit more about that track and the video and how that all came together.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an interesting story. I started writing the chorus for that song when I was in high school. So my teen years come back into this. It's funny.
Yeah.
Um, just literally singing in the shower, which is a funny, maybe embarrassing thing to admit. But
We all
sometimes
do it.
there we go. Sometimes my songs start like that. And then it was kind of like an idea on the back burner. I almost even forgot about it for the longest time. Um, and then recently, this was actually last year, I was going back through some ideas, and I stumbled upon this, and I originally was singing the idea. Um, and then it kind of transitioned and evolved into something that I was hearing in my head. And I took a trip to Las Vegas, and it was the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. I went out there for that, and it was kind of an inspirational trip too, because I'm driving down the strip and I'm
Yeah.
seeing billboards of my favorite DJs up there. And I just went into my hotel room, start playing the song, play on the song, and then just had it on repeat. Finished all the lyrics for it within maybe 20 minutes, and I knew it was done, and I knew it was ready. And then I knew I had to go back home, get the heck out of Vegas, and go record it, because instead of my voice on it, I heard a really soulful voice from a girl that I met down in Miami that is one of my friends down there. So I
And
hit her up to
was
see if she was.
was she the vocalist on the track?
Yes, she's the vocalist on the
Oh,
track.
okay.
The vocalist that I had envisioned for the song, it was perfect, because um her voice was just so soulful, and it was exactly what I was envisioning. And then she came in and killed it. And I tell you, like, to hear a voice like that just sing my lyrics, it was like I felt very fulfilled. It was a great feeling. And this was actually when the song was a lot different from what you heard today. This is
Hmm.
the transitional point right when I was moving to Los Angeles. So I had her come in to the studio, track vocals, and then I came out to Los Angeles like the next week. I didn't even have time to jump in um, on the song. So when I got out here, I was listening to the song, and then her voice was so awesome on it that I thought that my music didn't necessarily do it justice, and it was almost underground, and I thought that I needed to change it up.
Hmm.
Um, so sometimes it's nice to kind of start from ground zero again. And at this point, I just met one of my new roommates, Corey, and he's an excellent musician. He's a classically trained violinist
Oh,
and
wow.
pianist as well. And he's got a great ear for making different sounds. And I decided to dive into the music with him. So we actually collaborated on the early stages of music production, for All of Your Love. And then after we kind of did our thing together, I kind of took it to a different level on my own. And that's what you're here today.
That's incredible, man. I mean, just I wish I knew more about like the producing aspect of it. I'm completely
Mhm.
completely clueless when it comes to like the recording end of it. I know obviously I've recorded, but I've usually had other guys worry about the mixing and mastering and stuff like that. But it sounds really cool that you managed to like even kind of work the track around what the vocals she laid down, and even if you changed the music completely, that you kind of worked backwards in a way.
Right, right, right. And there's no I don't really have a set method as far as where my songs come from,
Right?
but it's funny that you bring up the whole producing side of things, because I really when I was in Black Tide, I'll bring it back to the rock vibes.
Yeah.
When I was in Black Tide, I we were working with some of the most, I mean, talented producers in the world,
Right, right. I
as you
believe
can.
Johnny K did your first record.
Right, Johnny K from Disturbed, and then Josh Wilbur, who I'm a really, really big fan of. I think he's got one of the best ears in the business. We worked with him on Postmortem, and when I was younger, I was kind of like taking things for granted, like being in the studio with these Grammy-winning producers. And if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely have been asking them a lot more questions
Right,
about
just
about
picking
how
their brains about all.
exactly about how the heck to do whatever the heck they're doing, because in hindsight now, it was really, really valuable to just be in the room with these guys. And I didn't necessarily ask questions, and it turned out leaving me at a point where, starting to make my own music, I had to kind of start from ground zero and learn everything by myself, and that's what I did. So I mix all my music, and I'm mastering it as well. So the All of Your Love song, I mixed that, and if I'll send you some new unreleased songs that you could hear um, me on, that I'm actually mixing as well.
Yeah, man, I would love that. Yeah, please do.
hmm
Do you maintain contact with any of those producers still, or like ever ask them for advice or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I spoke with Garth Richardson the other day, and I still talk back and forth with Josh every once in a while. And it's it's really a small industry, and I think these guys know that. So,
Right.
I mean, we're in it. Once you're in it, you guys know each other. So.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. What made you decide to make the move to LA from Florida? Was it just more career based, or you thought there might be more opportunities out there, or anything like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I've always loved LA coming out here since the band was younger.
Mm-hmm.
LA was kind of like a second home for us because we were here pretty often.
Yeah.
So I've always loved the vibe out here, but more so than anything, I love the ambition of people out here. There's so many hardworking people that are hungry and out here doing things and making noise and out here to get it and move
Sure.
forward. And not saying that other big cities aren't similar, it's just for, music specifically, Los Angeles is unparalleled in the way things can go for an artist.
Sure.
I being from South Florida, there's a big DJ scene down there. But my goal is not necessarily to just be a DJ. My goal is to be me. And
Right.
I feel like as an artist, Los Angeles is the best place for me to be living in. And I proved myself right, because within the first 2 weeks of me living out here, I made more progress and it was more productive than I pretty much had ever been in South Florida.
Nice, nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out, because I mean, I was just, I always imagine like these like horror stories of people like packing up everything and moving out west only for it to not work out. But I mean, obviously you have experience, you've made it work before, and you're making it happen right now. And it sounds like you've got a pretty solid plan going on. It sounds like you have a lot of, you almost have like a second career lined up if you wanted to produce other artists and stuff like that. You have different options, and I think that's
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like it kind of all hit me at once. I I moved out here, and then all of a sudden, I've been getting hit up to write songs for other people as well. So what I'm doing out here, I am staying busy, kind of juggling back and forth between music for myself as an artist and also, music for other people. Kind of as a it's not really a job, because I'm just making music, so it's
Right,
it's
right.
fun. I'm loving it. But for instance, YouTube hit me up to do a theme song for their Super Bowl campaign, which
Oh,
was
did
really
they
cool.
really?
So I was happy to be a part of that. Yeah, so
Wow,
I got to write some music for YouTube, which was awesome.
that's very
Um,
cool.
and a few other things like that come in, and I'm just completely humbled, and it's pretty amazing. Sometimes I just like to look back and just and just smile, really, for all the things that are going on here.
That's awesome. I mean, it's still mind-boggling to me all the things you've done so far. And remind everyone, how old are you again?
Well, now I'm actually 27, so
Gotcha.
I'm not.
Yes,
It
at the ripe old age of 27.
right.
You've
It's
still
not
done
that.
quite a bit, though, man.
Right, the age is not necessarily a novelty anymore, but
No.
I'm I don't want to be known for my age anymore. I want to be known for pretty much my music and for who I am and what I do. So I'm excited to to get that out there. And I think that this is just the beginning for me. I really do.
Well, definitely, man, and I mean that in a positive way, in which you have both youth and experience on your side. So that's a really good combo to have in the business,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, definitely. I'm excited to put that to the test.
Definitely, and I also saw one of your most recent projects was for a band called the Mowgli's, called I'm Good. That
Right,
I was listening to that earlier today, and I was really impressed by that. I mean, again, it's not something I would normally listen to on my own, but
right.
I was listening to it. I'm like, you know what? This is a really cool, like, upbeat pop song with a really positive message. And I understand that was written for a particular cause. Did you want? I'll let you elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was earlier last year, or and let's see, for the band the Mowgli's, we all got together and wrote a song. It was funny. It was actually out here in Los Angeles. This was before I was living here over at Henson. And it was we actually recorded it in the same room that Michael Jackson and all the legends recorded "We Are the World."
Oh
And
wow,
it was as you can
that
imagine,
studio, that's
it was
amazing.
exactly. So it was pretty inspiring to just be in there, tracking vocals with everyone. But
Did
it was
did you check
that
your egos at the door?
yeah, yeah, nothing was in there. I feel like they should just close that studio because they pretty much sealed it with that whole collaboration.
I mean,
But
it's
anyway,
like where can you go from there?
where do you go
Come
from
on.
there exactly? But I kind of looked at it in a different way, and we just took that and turned it into inspiration. So we really wanted to come up with an uplifting, positive song, and that's what I'm Good pretty much turned into. So it was really fun. Happy to be a part of that project, and that was just another thing of one of the creative efforts that I'm just a part of out here. And those are the type of things you asked me about moving to Los Angeles. Those are the type of things that happen out here on a daily basis, which is amazing. And that you can't really say that in other places.
That's very cool, man. I mean, I've never been to Los Angeles, but it sounds like a really cool place. And I mean, if I ever do make it out there, I'll have to look you up. I'll
Yeah,
let you show me
absolutely.
around. Uh, one of the final things I wanted to bring up. How are you feeling? I know you ran a marathon yesterday.
Oh my God, that's funny that you bring that up. I did. So I ran a marathon yesterday, and it was my first marathon. Very well might be might very well be my only marathon, but I don't particularly enjoy running. I think
Right,
it's a nice thing to do, maybe a couple miles here or there. That's fine, that's healthy. But if you I'm not a trained runner. I
right.
just I'm kind of athletic, I guess. So
Wait,
I just
hang.
I figured I'd be
Let me stop you right there for a second, Steve. Kind of athletic. I mean, for as long as I've known you, even like footage of you as a kid, you've always been like jacked and cut up, like 8 pack and all this other stuff.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, when do you guys get to train? When you're like, most rock stars are like a bunch of skinny dudes. You guys are all like muscle bound and all this stuff, and I'm like,
Too funny.
I hate you so much right now.
Too funny. Yeah, no, it's funny. My dad, when I was in kindergarten, when I was a little kid, when we would watch like Saturday morning cartoons, during the commercials, he would make us do push-ups.
Oh
So
wow,
I have to thank him for instilling the whole push-up thing in me since an early age.
wow. Well,
But
there you
no,
go.
yeah. So the marathon thing. Back to that thing. I actually today I feel like I got hit by a semi truck yesterday.
Wow.
So I'm in recovery mode. My body is definitely not meant to run 26 miles straight, but I ended up doing it. I was inspired by my friend. He actually lost his leg, and I found out a couple weeks ago,
Oh wow.
and it kind of hit me because despite the thing that he was going through, he still had a really positive outlook on his life and where he was going and what he was doing, and that really inspired me to kind of try and help him out somewhat. And he actually, unfortunately, didn't have insurance,
Hmm.
so he is trying to get a prosthetic leg so he can walk again, and
Gotcha.
he can't necessarily afford one, so he started a You Caring Fund Me campaign. So I wanted to raise a little awareness and send it to some of my email contacts and friends. So I figured instead of just, sharing a link about a friend, I wanted to do something physical, do something to show other people that I was going to do something and kind of maybe inspire someone to help out as well. And not even necessarily just for my friend Josh, but just in general. I feel like it's not till I hear a story or see a story like that I am, shortly separated from that it really hits me the way that this did. And, it made me really look back and see, dang, I freaking got my legs right now.
Yeah.
I gotta take advantage of these things.
Yeah, you
Let me
don't want to
just
take it for granted.
exactly. So that's the last thing I wanted to do. And I feel like the ultimate test of not taking my legs for granted was running a marathon. Not saying that you need to run a marathon to appreciate your legs in the slightest, but I just feel like it was kind of like making a statement, testing my um, physical endurance and mental willpower, and just doing all that at once. I'm not saying I was only running for Josh, because I wasn't, but I am going to say that he definitely inspired me to do it, and inspired me to kind of take less for granted and appreciate more things.
Absolutely, and like I said, I mean, I was really impressed, when I found out what you were doing, and it sounded like you were doing it for a great cause, raising awareness for stuff like that, and I think it's a really good thing. I know my wife ran a marathon like about a month ago. It was more just a sense it was on her bucket list, and
Mm-hmm.
She's like 5 foot nothing, and I'm telling her, I'm like, okay, babe, I support
Yeah.
you, I appreciate what you're doing. This has got to be it, though.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because it's like I don't want you to hurt yourself. I'm like, I'm glad you're getting exercise and all this other stuff, but I don't want you to get hurt out there. And of course, in a couple weeks, she's doing like like I think like a half marathon. So I think my suggestion went right out the window. But
Right. Right.
I'm
Right.
still fighting that battle. But
Well, it's better to be addicted to that than to other things, that's for sure. But it's funny because I obviously haven't done the studies, and I don't know who has, but all my all my friends that are runners and love running, and
hmm
they're getting into their older years, they all have terrible knees. So
yeah.
it can't be good for you. That's for one thing.
I think it's like any other form of exercise. You gotta like know when to do it in moderation. Like I do CrossFit for example, but I try not to get too like heavy duty into it because like I don't want to hurt myself. I just want to stay in good shape, you know?
Right, right, right. And CrossFit's funny. I like CrossFit. I actually tried it for a month as
Yeah.
well. I didn't stick with it consistently, but I was, on a Groupon. I was like $30 for a month, all you can CrossFit. Definitely, let me try this out. And there are things to CrossFit that I like, and there are things that I don't like.
Right.
One, and one is, I love the group motivation kind of thing
Yeah, it's
for
great.
CrossFit and for other things in life. It's just like we're out here together. Let's motivate each other. Let's wake up. Let's get something done. And that's what CrossFit's about, which is awesome. And but the thing I don't like about it is like it's like, a lot of the CrossFit instructors are like, man, you gotta go big or you gotta go home, you gotta lift heavier and
Yeah,
flip it
yeah.
up and swing it up with your back over your head. I'm like, you know what? Let me just not listen to you because you have a shoulder brace on right now and you're just recovering from an injury.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm lucky enough to be in a gym where it's full of like really cool people. So, but I mean, I definitely understand that side of it too. You don't want some like lunkhead screaming in your ear the entire time.
Right, right. So it's like there's definitely pros and cons, but I would say anything that's gonna get you up, get you active is definitely a good thing.
Gotcha, man. This has been awesome. I know you're on a bit of a time crunch, so I don't want to keep you all night. I mean, I would love to have you back on. I mean, I have so many questions as a longtime Black Tide fan, and I mean, I have so many of the favorite songs. I know you mentioned playing keyboards. I know that you played keys on Into the Sky, which is a great song. I love stuff like Honest Eyes, and I mean, so many great songs I could pick your brain about. But yeah, I'd definitely love to have you back on. I was even surprised even what you said, because at first I thought that you made the decision to left the band, but it sounded like almost that decision was made for you. And I mean, I don't want to get too personal on that. I mean, that's none of my business, but
Right.
but yeah, I mean, hopefully one of these days we can sit down and talk about it because I'm fascinated by the whole run you guys had, and of course how that led to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's figure it out. Let's get back in. We'll set it up for sure, Jack.
Absolutely, man. Well, anyways, where can some of the listeners find some of your stuff and pay attention and keep in touch with you now and just plug away, please. The floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to know a little bit more information about me and the kind of the songs that I've written and just kind of my vibe, you can check out my website at iamstevenspence.com. And then, I've got my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iamstevenspence.
Very cool, man. Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know you're a busy guy, so definitely cool, man. I'm definitely I'm geeking out right now. Like I said, I was a fan of yours first, and now that I'm glad that that we're talking like this, and it's a very cool thing, man. Definitely keep in touch next time you're in Florida. All right.
Absolutely, will do. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Thank you so much to Steven Spence, man. What a talented, awesome dude. Just completely, just couldn't be nicer and more down to earth as well. Just absolutely great interview. Definitely want to thank him for taking the time to talk to me all the way from LA, going coast to coast with this thing. I love it, man. It's so cool that we're able to do that via Skype. Hopefully I'll have him back again sometime down the road. Definitely go out and check out his website, iamstevenspence.com. Look up on YouTube his new song, All of Your Love. I'll be posting links to this in the description. And I'll also be posting links to, for his friend, Josh Delmonico. The guy lost his leg, and he could definitely use people's help in terms of raising some money to get a prosthetic leg. So let's definitely check that out and get that going. And while you're at it, if you're curious about his earlier work with Black Tide, check out their first two records, Light from Above and Postmortem. I'm still a fan of Black Tide, even though Steven's not with them anymore. Those guys are still going. They've got some different members, but they're still just an incredible band. Check out their newest record, Chasing Shadows. As far as some upcoming events, man, Vertebraker is going to have an amazing April. We've got a lot of cool shows coming up. Starting off on Saturday, April 2nd, we are going to be at the event known as the Bar Brawl, presented by the Extreme Fighting Alliance in Melbourne, Florida at the County Line Saloon. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, we are, I guess, the musical guest for an MMA fight there. Should be a really interesting way to play in front of a whole new audience, man. Should be an amazing thing. I don't know what it's going to be like, but definitely check out the EFA Bar Brawl. A week after that, we're heading across the state of Florida, back to my old stomping grounds in St. Pete, downtown St. Pete to be exact, at the local 662, where we are going to be playing with the reunited Soulfound and the reunited Trace of Day. Speaking of Soulfound, go back and check out my last episode that I did with Ivan Pena, episode 19. That is a great interview as well. Definitely a big history lesson there. I am really excited to play St. Pete for the first time in over 2 years, and to play with those two bands, getting back together. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to show everyone there what Vertebraker is all about. Also, later that month, back in Melbourne, back at the Boondocks Live, we haven't played there in a few months. We are going to be there with definitely a few local friends, including Who Was I, Dare Defy, and Southern Fried Genocide. But the thing is, we're going to be opening up for Trapped. Definitely one of the most high-profile bands that we've opened for to date. I've been a big fan of Trapped for years, so this is going to be really cool. You know them from songs like Headstrong, Echo, Still Frame. Man, those guys have been around for a long time. It's going to be amazing to open for Trapped. That's going to be an incredible show. If you're in the area, you will not want to miss that. Tickets are on sale now. And then finally on Saturday, May 7th at the Landfill Saloon in Melbourne, we will be playing with our good friends Delacoma, Ern, and Travis Daigle. Delacoma, as you guys have heard in past episodes, he played with Delacoma Rio, I should say. He played an acoustic show with us earlier this year. He's coming with his band. The rest of his band from Australia are coming in, so that's going to be really cool. Go back and listen to the episode I did with him and Jason Todd. Should be interesting to have him back and to hear him with the full band, along, of course, with Ern and Travis Daigle. It should be an amazing night of music, so definitely check out the Landfill Saloon on Saturday, May 7th. So that is it for this episode of the Phoenix Report, man. What a great episode. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor. Like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JackConnorMusic. And definitely check out the band at www.vertebraker.net. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube or iTunes, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating. Go back and listen to all the other episodes when you get the chance. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. This has been the Phoenix Report with Jack Connor on the twobadbrains.com.